In this video, we're going to talk about how to get into political consulting. Frankly, it's pretty easy. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do it. I'm going to show you how it's done. In fact, I'm also going to tell you how just being really good at one special task can lead to a lucrative career as a political consultant. So we're going to, basically it's a step-by-step process, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. Number one, it starts with a marketable skill. Number two, you must have a network. Number three, somewhere along the line, you're going to need a mentor. And number four, there are certain places you need to be seen and heard, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. Let's first start with developing a marketable skill. Now, the world is kind of your oyster on what that marketable skill might be. Let's start with something that candidates hire political consultants to do, and one is to help the candidate. Not all candidates are wordsmiths. Not all candidates can express their views as well as their views could be expressed. Nearly every candidate, including most office holders, need help crafting their words and saying what they want to say and communicating their ideas in eloquent, understandable, and compelling messages. So there is a whole arena out here of political consultants who do nothing except helping a candidate express their views. They are speechwriters. They are debate coaches. They are people who prepare candidates for contentious television or radio or newspaper interviews. They are candidates who the candidate calls 2 minutes before she's going to hold a press conference to say, I know I'm going to be asked this question. How do I answer it? Candidates are in the weeds during the day. They don't always and can't always think clearly. And there's always going to be a market for political consultants out there who are close to the candidate, can whisper in their candidate's ear so the words come out of the candidate's mouth in the right way. It is a whole field of consulting, and if you love words, painting pictures with words, if you are a master at the English language with a great knowledge of history, you can get a job helping a candidate with their words. The second area where candidates need help is marketing their message. Now, social media has become the new thing. Frankly, if a candidate's not using social media, they might as well not be even campaigning, because so many people now get their news and their information from various social media networks. So if you can become an expert on the use of Twitter, or X as it's now called, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, even LinkedIn. The use of social media in future political campaigns is always going to grow. And quite frankly, in 2 or 3 years, maybe less, there'll be a new social media in the network that candidates are starting to use, and maybe the ones that are prominent now, one of them may be gone. But AI is coming. AI is going to have a lot of uses in political marketing, and if you can be the master of how to apply AI as it develops for use in a political campaign, you too can be a political consultant, because it's a whole new field. The third area candidates and campaigns always need help with is raising money, fundraising. And there are political consulting firms that specialize in direct mail fundraising, raising money through tweets, raising money through emails, raising money through direct mail, raising money with organized events. There are even political consulting firms that specialize in simply connecting candidates to people who make the decisions for political action committees and the interest groups that take an interest in who gets how much money in a political campaign. It's getting the candidate in the door, and that is its whole field of political consulting. Now, if you want to be a political consultant, pick something that you like and become very good at it. Once you've picked something that you're passionate about doing, I'll make my own confession. I do lots of things for candidates, but my favorite task is crafting their words. It's one thing I love to do. And if you said pick your poison, Jay, I'd say it's crafting words. I love it. But it's not the craft for everyone. But the point is that if once you have decided which place you want to pursue, make it your job and your mission to be a sponge. Learn everything about that. So people who deal with helping candidates express their views are those who watch every political debate they can see to see what worked and what didn't. They are those who listen to candidate speeches, that read speeches from prominent political people to get ideas and make them better at their craft. They are people who watch interviews with candidates and see what was well done and what was not, because that makes them better at their craft. They become a sponge for how candidates use words. If your passion is raising money for a political candidate, watch what other people are doing, read books, go to seminars, go to webinars, learn all you can about that profession. If it's social media, make it your point to become experts. I have an expert I turn to every time I need to do a Facebook campaign. He knows the back end of Facebook better than I ever will. He is my go-to guy when I have a client who tells me, let's do some Facebook ads. I can help him craft the words and help him craft the graphics, but he knows the back end better than I ever will. He will always have income, he will always have clients because he knows that task very, very well. Third thing I'm going to mention is places that you should consider being seen and heard. There are two organizations in the United States whose members are political consultants and political operatives and campaign managers. It's the American Association of Political Consultants. They have their own organization. I think they have their own magazine. They have their own website where consulting firms hire people who've worked in political campaigns, or candidates are looking for a political consulting firm that can do things. But it tends to attract people who are full-time in the political consulting profession. They have get-togethers, I think, twice a year. They have meetings, they do training seminars. There are political consultants that come in and brag about what they did in the last campaign that won an election. Go and learn and see what they did with the technology and how they used it. There's another group I'll mention called Campaigns and Elections. It's a similar organization that also does events 3 or 4 times a year where the best and the brightest come and they put on display what they did, how they do it, tips of the profession. Well, if you go to these meetings, you're going to run into people who are in a position to hire you. You're going to run into people who know a lot about a particular subject that you may want to become friends with. And conferences are a great place to do that. So go, do, and join, because both these organizations are places where you can network and really where you should be seen and heard. Point number 4 about being in the political consulting profession. There is a lot of word of mouth in this profession. I know, I've been in it for 45 years. It's sometimes who you know. I'll get calls from people who are friends of mine that says so-and-so is going to need some help. I'm just going to give you the heads up. They're going to run for office. I'm going to suggest you talk to her. I'm going to suggest to her that she talk to you. A referral like that is worth its weight in gold. Now, that sort of thing goes on, of matching consultants to campaigns and campaigns to consultants, because of the networks that have been developed through years of working together, friendships that have blossomed, and that simply comes to this rule I suggest you follow. If you want to make a friend, be a friend. And if you want to keep a friend, stay in touch. Never let your connections to people who could be helpful to you grow cold. That means you make a concerted effort to stay in touch with people in politics, be they candidates, be they political staff people, be they particular campaigns, be they influencers that you have met with along the way. Never let them become cold, because you never know. If you are fresh in their mind, or if you stay in touch with them through the years, you are going to remain fresh in their mind when they may need a consultant to help a candidate they're trying to help. The fifth point I'm going to mention here is the importance of finding a mentor. Do not go out and say, well, okay, I'm 22, I want to be a political consultant, I'll hang up my shingle and just wait on people to come talk to me. That's a good way to start. It won't work that way. Here's the fact. Political consultants are people who are really, really good at winning elections. They know a lot of things about politics that it takes years to learn. And if you're only 2 years in, it's impossible for you to have their base of knowledge. So when I say find a mentor, it's look for somebody who runs a political consulting firm where you can work for that firm for a period of time. I've seen people devote their entire careers to working as a partner in a political consulting firm once they got on the inside. But the point is, you can learn a lot about what you need to know by working inside a political consulting firm. If that's not your gravy, or if that's not the way you want to do things, then look for another way to find a mentor to keep you out of trouble. Now, here's the thing about spending a long time in the industry. You see things that work, but you also see a lot of candidates who've ended their career with something stupid they said, or something stupid they did, or something stupid that their political consultant did. And part of having a good mentor is having someone to kind of look over your shoulder, watch what you're doing, and saying, buddy, don't do that one. Do not do that, because that stunt will backfire on you. Try to accomplish it this way. That's the importance of finding a mentor. It's much more likely that you will survive in the political consulting profession if you've had some training inside a political consulting firm and someone looking over your shoulder in the early years to keep you out of trouble and help you keep clients coming in. I have something that's free for you if you have any interest in getting into the political consulting profession, and if you are looking for a mentor. I do mentor political consultants. I mentor campaign managers. I mentor campaign staff and people who would like to someday become political consultants, and I help them get started. Or I help them increase their body of knowledge, or I connect them to someone that I know who can help them on their own journey. If you are interested in talking to me, I would be happy to talk to you. There is a link underneath this video where you can get in touch with me, give me a little bit of information about you and what you're looking for, send it to me, and we'll be in touch.